Happy Wednesday. Hump Day, I guess, is what we can call it, or what it's been called. My name is Mark, and I'm one of the co-hosts for Voices from Fandom. But first things first, one of our co-hosts had to take his wife to the hospital, had to rush her to the hospital for a pretty bad injury. My blessings and my prayers go out to you, Mark. Like I said before, while you're at the hospital, if you don't have to be if they put your wife out or something and you need a little bit of peace and calm, you can go to a quiet room and you can log in and still be with us, but don't make that your priority. Your wife is. We're missed you. I'm going to miss your comments for this show because it's very, very important what your thoughts are, because I consider you kind of, middle of the road. But I do have a guest co-host here who we're going to choke out, because he had already gave us his opinions on some of the things we're going to be talking about today. So we may be kicking him off early, to an early death, to the guillotine, something like that, because I think he's crazy, but he's a good guest. But before we do that, let me just go ahead and bring up our monthly co-host that we do. One of the co-hosts for Voice from Fandom. This is Joe Thompson's. Now, this is a fan show. There's so many podcasts. I hate that word. I hate that term, podcast. This is a webcast. Okay, I consider podcast something you listen to. Webcasts are something that you watch. And I call our show's webcast. Like I said, my name is Mark. Yeah. So you're watching us. Enjoy it. I'm with NBL Entertainment. This is our company that we do here, along with shows that we do every Saturday. Saturday morning cartoons, where we talk about cartoons from our past, things you were growing up. I'm a big Hanna-Barbera superhero fan, so Herculoid, Space Ghost, even Johnny Quest, things of that nature. I enjoy. So we get a chance to talk about that every Saturday. Go back in the past, and each one of our co-hosts has a turn for the week. That is their turn, and they pick 10 clips. Last Saturday, we had a guest host, and he was a teacher, and he reached out to me and said he wanted to do a show, and he's about to, go back to school to his kids. So we did a show on Schoolhouse Rock, and that show was, what did you think about that show last Saturday, Joe?
It was fun. Yeah, it was a good time. I was like the Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Schoolhouse Rock. I know a lot. That's how I learned the preamble, to the Constitution. It's from Schoolhouse Rock, because you're singing it more than you're actually reciting it, and it sticks in your brain. The other show that we do is called Classic Television Smackdown, and that's every other Friday. And much like Saturday morning cartoons, we delve back, but only into live action shows that you guys watched growing up, like Dick Van Dyke Show, Lucy's Show, All in the Family, Room 222, Welcome Back, Kotter. We talk about that. We have fun doing it. We really, really, really have fun doing it. So if you can follow us, subscribe to us, whatever, you'll see these happening on the weekends. The good thing about Classic Television Smackdown is that you are not necessarily, I shouldn't use the word allow, you can do whatever the hell you want, but we encourage you, BYOB, to our shows. So if you like whiskey, if you like beer, if you like wine, make sure you have that in your hands, because between the 3 or 4 of us that are hosting those shows over the weekend, we get a little wacky, okay? And that's just after probably the first 30 seconds of it. But, a few sips of some libations, and you're going to laugh even louder at some of the shows that we bring back to the forefront. Speaking of such, guys, we have a lot that we're going to cover today. And I'm going to start worst coming forward. And Joe, I honestly think this is a generational thing. Okay. The movie that I saw last week and that Mark saw last week, wow, had a lot to be desired. But before we do that, let's go ahead and pull our co-host, the wonderful Remington Keys.
How's everybody going?
Yeah. I'm going to read you a really, really cool and interesting bio of Remington. First off, I know no one named Remington, okay, other than Steele. Okay, the guy talking about classic television, Remington Steele. Remington, let me ask you before I go ahead and talk about your bio. How, in fact, what was your mom and dad thinking when they decided they were going to call you Remington, or is that just your stage name?
So my dad is a big game hunter, so he thought he was naming me after the gun.
Stop. Hold. What did you just say? Her dad is a what?
Big game hunter.
Wait a minute. I only saw that in movies from the 30s. You know, big game hunter, big freaking double barrel elephant gun in his hand, going through the woods, the jungles of Africa or Eastern Asia or whatever. Are you serious?
Yeah, 100%. He used to, when I was growing up, like every year, he would take these big trips, travel all over the world to go do some big game hunt. You know, that's just sort of his thing. So, and he helped run with his buddy a gun store for like most of my life. So, yeah.
This is craziness, man. How come I don't see any heads on you on the wall behind you there? Where's the heads?
Because I don't do any of the hunting at all. That would be all him. So, yeah, I'm more of a fisherman. I like that kind of stuff. I'm nice to the other animals.
Are your siblings named after guns too? You know, do you have one named like Magnum or you know?
Yeah, right.
Glock? No, just me because you know. While my dad thought he was naming me after a gun, my mom thought she was naming me after Remington Steele. So it was just kind of, they both had different expectations going in with naming me. So
that's great.
You probably said, "Who the hell's Remington Steele?" You know? Yeah. Okay. So look, let's go over your bio here. All right. So it's very, very impressive. All right. So Remington Keyes, your last name is Keyes, Keyes, is a multi-talented creator, martial artist, and storyteller with a passion for pop culture, combat arts. You know I can take you, right? And community. A 4-time local champion and 2025 Martial Arts Hall of Fame inductee. Braggart. Remington blends over 2 decades of martial arts. I told you I could take you, right? Expertise with a deep love for anime, comics, and narrative media.
Yes.
Whether he's teaching, podcasting, or writing, he brings energy and insight and heart to everything he does. Your mother wrote that. I'm pretty sure of that. Your mom wrote that. So tell me about your martial art portion of this first and this inductee thing. How did that happen?
So I've pretty much dedicated most of my life to martial arts. I've practiced for 21 years. I've taught for almost just as long. You know, I was very much a troubled kid. So like whenever I was like getting suspended and stuff, I'd spend time in the dojo training and helping out whenever I can. So that's just kind of like what I've been big into. And so I got a lot of people who know me. I got heart failure. And I used to compete as a kid, but, you know, I stopped for a little bit. But as I got heart failure, I said, well, this is my time to start competing again because, you know, there's only so much time you have left on this earth. So I'm going to use whatever I got left to do cool stuff. And so I was like, let me just test myself to see if I could get back out there. And then this year I've won 4 championships. And then I'm going to be competing. I'm going to be competing for the World Championship in the fall here, and I may or may not be getting a chance to be on Team USA for the World Games. So may or may not.
That's
still kind of up in the air.
Joe, what do you think of that, Joe?
That's really impressive. That's incredible. I only did like a little bit of Taekwondo back in the day, you know, and like, you know, when I was a kid and in my 20s, but never really stuck with it. So that's admirable. My friend Maggie is on, and she says martial arts literally saved her life. So she feels that so much. It's an incredible sport. I love martial arts.
As you can see, I still got my plaque here, and it's plastic.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
How cool.
I'm gobsmacked. I'm gobsmacked right now, buddy boy. That is impressive as all good. It's an honor to have you on with us tonight.
And not only that, I was able to do a martial arts in a Netflix movie that I still receive residuals for. So, yeah.
What movie?
What's the movie? What's the
movie? Father of the Year with David Spade.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. I was a little upset it didn't win a Razzie. It's not a great movie by any means. So I was like, oh, maybe it's like bad enough to win a Razzie, but it's like one of those like movies that should have been straight to DVD. And so like it wasn't bad enough to win a Razzie, but it wasn't good enough to win anything. It was just kind of in that weird middle ground.
I think I saw that one. It was okay. It was
really.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as Marcus saying the new Naked Gun movie is, but
hey, I didn't mention any movies as of yet, by the way.
but it wasn't as good as the Happy Gilmore 2, which was fun. So
I haven't seen either of those movies. I've been all focused on superhero movies.
Yeah. Okay, so we don't hold up a lot of people that are staying up to watch us. I want everybody to know that we do have a chat room here. If there's anything you want to chime in on, within reason, come on and pop on in. And I say within reason because sometimes scammers find us and they want to advertise their, ED products or whatever they're trying to advertise. And of course, I'm not going to put you up on the screen like I'm doing right now. But we wish you guys would enjoy. I'm going to be moving my head back and forth just to see names here because of I had eye surgery, so I'm just kind of making excuses right now. But as you see what I'm doing, this is you coming up on the screen right now after your comments. So I'm gonna go since Joe answered. Okay, by the way, guys, I should have done a proper intro for my co-host Joe here. Number one, Joe is a independent comic illustrator and a writer. And he puts out some very, very, very incredible pieces of art and some work. He's one of my great friends here. Joe, is there anything you want to, since Remington has already spoken about himself highly, is there anything that you could say that you could top Remington's bio?
I mean, I didn't realize this was a contest, but yeah,
it's not.
Hey, everybody watching knows me. I mean, I'm one of the regular co-hosts here. I've been part of the NBL Entertainment family for a bit now, for a few years. Done a lot of co-hosting on Saturday morning cartoons, and Mark and I started this. Mark and I and the other Mark started this.
And the other Mark, right?
And I'm an independent artist. I do a lot of I've done some comic books. I do a lot of stuff for rock bands, metal bands, local rock venue, local bar, and for friends too. And I'm a huge geek. Have been my whole life, and everything from comics to video games, TV to movies. I'm just a complete mediophile. And it always leans towards the more genre specific fantasy and sci-fi, science fantasy, that kind of stuff. So yeah, and this is a great summer for me because you've got basically the two big movies of the summer were superhero movies and kind of reboots that were sorely needed from franchises that have kind of been drugged through the mud for a while. So
listen, not from what I hear. I hear Disney's pretty scared of the box office with Fantastic Four. Little Birdie tells me that they're a little worried right now.
Don't jump ahead yet, guys. Don't jump ahead yet. Let's stay on target here for a second. There's a lot we have to talk about. I'm going to try and keep it as routinely. That's not even a word. As routine as possible on it. So bear with us. There's some things, but like I mentioned before, oh, by the way, Joe's one of my great friends, and he's just incredible person, not just an incredible talent. Okay, he's an incredible person. Me, I'm no one important, and you don't need to know anything about me, and that's how we're going to keep it. So this is what we're going to do. Since we have things to show, we have things to talk about, we have things to bitch about, we might as well go ahead and start. Now, I was hoping that Mark was here for this because he agrees wholeheartedly on this. So I'm going to go ahead and show this first, and then we're gonna chime in. So, no pun intended. Hold on to your pants.
On August 1st, a new contender arrives.
You like watching a real man?
I think someone murdered my brother.
There's always a reason to kill someone. Did he have an obnoxious laugh?
A new hero. It will be revealed.
What do you want, little one?
Playtime's over.
All right, I am a fan of Airplane. Let's start off with that. Okay, that was excellent. I was a huge fan of Police Squad, especially their really kick-ass movie. Kick-ass music that they have at the beginning of the show with the top of the police car and the light at the top and going through car washes and going through diners and stuff like that. Big fan of that, right? Going into this movie, and I'll go ahead and start off because I'm going to ignite you guys. I know Joe hasn't seen it. Have you seen this, Remington? Excellent. I love it. I love it. And everyone has to believe what I said. They have to believe. Okay, so I'm loving this.
The only thing I'll say about this is that Seth MacFarlane was executive producer, and he's kind of hit or miss when it comes to movies. So I'm a little skeptical.
It's funny that you said miss. And by the way, I may have to reattach to Facebook only because I can't believe it was that clip that just knocked us off Facebook. Okay, which is interesting. YouTubers, I know you're still watching. If you guys can go ahead and chime in, people that are watching. Mike, you were probably watching on Facebook. I need you guys to go ahead and wait for a sec while I reattach. But while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and speak a little bit. And that is, I saw this movie. So did Mark. And I think we pretty much agreed that Mike just messaged me saying, kicked off already? Wow. Well, I think they probably knew what I was going to say about this movie. That's
they're trying to censor you.
Well, anyway, I'm sorry?
They're trying to censor you.
Yeah, well, not going to happen. But let me pop back in before I reattach because I really got to concentrate on what I'm going to say about this movie. Basically, I expected more of what I saw. I don't think, and getting back to what you had mentioned, Remington, about Seth MacFarlane probably hitting and missing on this kind of stuff. Well, I considered it a miss. And there were just things in this movie that I was an audience. The time of day, I think it was a lot of seniors. I'm a senior myself that was in this movie. And I specifically heard one woman who was laughing at every gag that was in this movie. And I mean, laughing hysterically for every gag. Oh my God, we lost a few people just on Facebook. I'm going to go ahead and try to do two things at once here. And I was a little perturbed that she thought this movie was that incredible.
Yeah, we are not on Facebook at all right now.
Yes, I am trying to reattach. So I am actually doing Remington, you're on StreamYard as well. I don't know if you've done this before, have reattached.
I've never gotten kicked off of StreamYard.
Really? Do you?
Oh, dude, all types of. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask Remington. Do you play clips from like TV shows and movies or things like that?
Sometimes, but very rarely, because my stuff's more discussion based than reaction based.
Okay.
So usually if I do play a clip, it's doing like a trailer reaction or something, and we'll just play like the first couple, like 30 seconds of the trailer or something, just because people can kind of get like an idea of what we're talking about.
Huh. Okay.
But you know, fair use is different with different platforms. You know, some people can be like real sticklers about it, and others can be like more lenient. You know.
Yeah.
I am. We get it all the time, Remington, because of the massive amounts of clips that we show. But we're careful. We know what companies don't like us using any of their materials or things of that nature. So, by the way, I have reattached. Joe, I'm going to be putting a link up like right now as soon as I can move fast enough so that we can go ahead and redo this. People know how this works. It's rarely that not rarely. Sometimes we do get kicked off Remington, but only because Universal properties don't like what we showed.
And
Disney sometimes, they catch us. Let me make sure. Hey, Joe, I'm gonna go in. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's post.
We're live again.
Go ahead and reattach. We are.
We're live.
Yeah. Cool beans. All right. Cool beans. Awesome. All right. Good. We're back on. So this was something that I was hoping that Mark was with me to talk about, because he's very adamant about his dislike for this movie. When you, like I said, mentioned Seth's name, Remington, it's like, oh yeah, you're right. It was Seth MacFarlane stuff, and this makes a lot of sense because there was some toilet humor in here. Now, either I'm grossly too old, or I just literally just didn't find any of it appealing to anyone. But the hysterical woman that was laughing at this thing in the movie theater really confused the hell out of me. Now, also, I understand that these two are now a couple. In fact, I saw,
that's true. Yep.
Entertainment Tonight segment or something where they're very, very close now and a couple. Yeah. And I'm like, well, okay. I wasn't crazy about, in this picture you see the original, of course, Drebin, and of course this character, Liam Nielsen's character, is the grandson, I do believe, or was it father? I think it's father, maybe.
Yeah, I think he's his father. Yeah.
Yeah, man, we really needed Mark for this one. Okay, so good, you're back, Mike. Good to hear, guys.
And you know, the thing is, I think Seth MacFarlane does better with a serial format. I mean, obviously his cartoons are a huge hit, but I mean, I love the Orville. The Orville is a fantastic show. I mean, it's carrying.
I agree on that one.
Yeah, it's carrying.
But see, I feel like Seth MacFarlane does better when he's passionate about the project he's working on. Look at something like Ted as opposed to Ted 2. Ted was like a passion project, and it was so good, and there was a lot of effort put into it. Whereas Ted 2 was like, oh, well, I made a lot of money. We got to make a sequel, you know.
I'll take Orville all day long over Ted. All day long.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I like Family Guy. I've always was a fan of Family Guy and that kind of humor, but we know that he stretched the line. He actually went over a line on a couple issues. It's not like he's South Park. I think he's pretty much a consolation prize to South Park. If you want to go all out South Park, then just be prepared of what you're going to see and what you're going to hear on South Park. With Family Guy, kind of passable stuff that I think he did. There was just so many scenes that just was not funny. Was not funny. And what I'm going to ask from you guys when we get to our next couple shows here, to grade it. I know you guys didn't see it, but I'm going to do something weird here, and that is getting a grade on your personal opinion if you go see this or not. And
I'll give you a rating on first impressions. First impressions, it was very low there. It's not something that was high on my radar, and I had seen the trailers. I had seen all this hype for it, but you know, even then, it wasn't something that was like a must see. You know, something like Scary Movie 6, which will be coming out next year. To me, that's like a must-see, and that hasn't even released a trailer yet. There was nothing here that went, okay, I have to go see this on the big screen. There's nothing here that even piqued my interest enough to be like, oh, let's go get a couple buddies and like it doesn't even look bad enough for me to go get drunk and watch it. You know, it's just kind of one of those things that feels like it's going to be here and then gone the next week, and nobody's going to talk about it after all the hype.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of intentions to see it, what would you where would it rate from 1 to 10?
Like a low 3.5. Like a
but that close enough to mine. How about you, Joe, in terms of need to see kind of rating?
Well, I would say the trailer initially, both the teaser trailer and the original were both great. They had me rolling, and I'm a huge fan of the originals. I saw the original Naked Gun in the theater. I saw the second one, I think, in the theater. I remember watching reruns of Police Squad, so I thought it looked really good. And then I just looked up the director. So Seth was only a producer on this, and it doesn't seem like he was very involved. The guy that directed this movie, I'm not a fan of any of his other movies. Had I known that and done my homework, his name is like Akiva Schaffer, and he did Hot Rod with what's his name? God. With what's that guy's name?
Don't strain with it. Just can you think of another movie that the guy?
Andy Samberg. Andy Samberg. So he did Hot Rod.
Andy Samberg,
yeah, he did the MacGruber movie. I see all of his old movies, and there's only like 1 or 2 that I even liked. So I would say that before I heard yours and Mark Streed's synopsis, I was probably an 8, and I was probably gonna watch it either on a matinee or wait and watch it streaming, but still excited to watch a good comedy because it's nice to laugh.
It's funny because after I got out of that movie, and I think I might have messaged you or something, you asked me how it was, and my response was, I want Mark, because Mark was seeing it. He was about an hour or 2 behind me. He was in the theater as well. And I said, I want to wait until Mark sees it first before I say anything about this movie. And it was, he and I were basically the same score when we got out of it. And that was basically a 5. I actually, hindsight is 20/20. Usually first impressions is what you want to, exclaim or anything like that. And then you sleep on it. And then you wake up the next day and you think about how you felt about that movie. And in my respect, my score actually was going down when I woke up the next day. And I'm like, and this is the part that upsets me. I'll get to you in a minute, Remington. I know you want to say something about it. This is the part that upset me, okay? Rotten Tomatoes gave it an incredible score. And I'm sorry. I'm a humorist. I know what's funny. I know what works. And I also know when someone's trying too hard or when someone is doing something unnecessarily. Like when you want to do fart jokes, when you want to do other kinds of jokes, basically you're looking at your Instagram or your TikTok and you're saying, oh, let's put this in a movie. It's like, dude, don't do that. Give me originality and whatever. Slapstick. I love slapstick, for God's sakes. But wow.
Now, where would you put this where would you put this in comparison to like those like date movie and epic movie and like disaster movie style movies? Like, do you think it's as bad as those movies or like somewhere in the middle?
This was a comedy. Supposedly it was a comedy.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. These other parody movies were comedies too, but they just ended up.
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, and I'm thinking so hard because that's how far back I'm going in terms of trying to find something in comparison. I mean, I remember what's the name? Gigolo's movie.
Oh yeah, Rob Schneider's Male Gigolo there, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I'm not comparing it to that.
I'm
just saying. Yeah, I'm not comparing it to that, but I'm just saying that comedy movies. I don't know. I love Hot Tub. Listen to me. I was about to say Hot Tub Gigolo. Again.
Hot Tub Time Machine.
Hot Tub. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that. that worked for me. That was original humor. You know, I don't know why it is where it is on the level, on the list. I really don't. I don't understand it.
Yeah, you know what else?
There was more silence. I'm sorry, Joe. Go for it, man.
Oh, I was gonna say what else is weird is it also has a huge cinema score. It's not just Rotten Tomatoes. The cinema score is actually higher than Rotten Tomatoes. It's actually equal to Superman and Fantastic Four, that's bizarre to me. That's really bizarre.
Okay. So Mark had a great explanation, and his explanation was basically a sign of the times, that people are stressed out, that people are worried, that people are pissed off. And I honestly think, based on his analysis of it, it just didn't take much to make you burst out in laughter.
Right.
They wanted really dumb humor. I wouldn't even put this in the category of dumb humor. It was just dumb. You know, there was humor somewhere in it. I'm not going to say it was completely dead. Some people are going to laugh out loud, but I've met people who laugh at jokes that I didn't think it was funny at all. And those are the type of people that went hysterical over this one. I'm like, well, there you go.
So, Joe,
right.
One thing I looked up, Daily Mail says that Seth MacFarlane had a significant role in the creative process and restructuring the film's humor.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's interesting.
And that's according to Daily Mail.
Yeah. Well, look, Joe, you're right about Orville, but I am not a Seth MacFarlane fan. Never had been. For some reason, he rubs me the wrong way, as if he's a wannabe lounge singer or something like that. I like some of his work, Orville being one, but
Orville's great.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to the next one that we're going to talk about, and that is Superman. Okay, and once again, if you guys are joining us for the first time, we are Voices from Fandom. One of our regular co-hosts is not here because he's taking care of his wife at the hospital, and I hope she's fine. You know, we'll talk to him at some point later. Hey, by the way, see that picture, Joe, of me right there in the white suit or the white jumpsuit?
Yeah, that looks like just your that's like your dating profile, right? Photo.
Oh, that's scary. Look, my arms are out in front and not wrapped around the side, okay, just because it's a white outfit. All right, so I was a pilot at Universal Studios for Macy's Holiday Parade. I was a pilot. I was one that controlled the balloons during the parade, controlling my team, which way, go to the left, go to the right, you know, go up higher, come down lower, the whole 9 yards, man. You have to have a major PhD in order to do something like that. Luckily, I slipped through the cracks. But anyway, so
astrophysics.
Hey, I'm glad to see you guys here. Remington, thank you for joining us. What's the name of your podcast, by the way, Remington?
Nerd Talk Podcast. Nerdy Talk for nerdy fans.
Nerd Talk Podcast. Well, you're around at least one nerd here. If Mark was here, it would have been two. Okay, I'm the only normal person on this screen. This is how I keep the balance. Okay, it's like having a bunch of freaking Star Wars fans on the screen at the same time.
Don't believe him. I'm telling our viewers, don't believe. You guys know this. Yeah, Mark's a nerd.
I'm a Johnny Quest fan. Like
just because you got surgery and you don't have to wear glasses anymore, you can't fool us.
I still got to move up a little closer to see what the hell I'm looking at.
This isn't a
all right. So
thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, I better put this disclaimer out first. If we get knocked off from any of these clips, and it's rare for us to do that, but this is why we don't really advertise on YouTube, because YouTube really knocks us off. We stopped actually doing our shows on YouTube because they were giving us strikes, and I was upset. It may happen this show. If we get knocked off, we're going to reattach ourselves, rather either our Facebook page again. I never had to reattach to YouTube, so we'll see what happens. Usually, I think they just knock us off for a few minutes or whatever. Go ahead, Joe.
Can I make a suggestion? Why don't we try talking during the trailer also, just to see if that makes a difference?
Because I loaded this, well, I guess I can do it in a different way. All right.
Like we can just turn our mics on, you know?
Yeah, that's I gotta do. Okay, so we're gonna move on to Superman. But before we talk about the movie, there was a little bit of an uproar. Basically, people had no idea that Superman had a dog. Okay, that Superboy had a dog. But I'm going to test out this clip anyway, Joe, for right now. Okay. But for those that go to a Superman movie and aren't educated on the history of Superman, here I am speaking for the geeks and nerds right now. I'm going to show you back in 1967 when Krypto was in fact a part of the Superman family genre. So take a look at this real quick, and hopefully this won't do anything to us. It's only about 30 seconds, but I guess that didn't matter. Here we go.
The Adventures of Superboy. Exciting stories of Superman when he was a boy, who even as an infant demonstrated powers and abilities far beyond the capabilities of Earthlings. Superboy, who as Clark Kent, mild-mannered foster son of Martha and Jonathan Kent, preserves the secret of his true identity and devotes his superpowers to the prevention of crime, the preservation of peace, and the pursuit of truth.
Now, for me being a product born in the 60s, all right, basically a geek around late 60s, around the 70s and on, we get to see things that are actually coming back around to you guys, current generations, let's say. I don't know how old you are, Remington, but I watched this show.
Late 20s.
Yeah, you're late 20s? Is that how old you are?
Mm-hmm.
God, we got an infant on the show, Joe. What the hell, man?
He's a baby.
I thought we had an age limit. I thought we had an age. Man, Mark, where are you, man? I thought we had an age limit. I used to watch Superboy all the time. I was a big Superman fan. 1966 was the Superman animated show, which was, I loved the death. I loved the opening to that. And I remember Superboy being a part of the Superman show, which makes a lot of sense. It's like, well, what was Superman doing when he was a kid? So that was Superboy. But the big thing about this, and I'm still gambling here, Joe. The big thing that we're going to talk about is, of course, what happened last month, because that's when I think July 11th, I actually think I saw this movie on July 8th. And it is Superman. And it was a blockbuster. It was a different take on Superman. I don't know how many different takes we've had on Superman already. Maybe 4. Kind of having Henry Cavill was a kind of a standalone Superman character that was a reboot. But then if you look at Brandon Routh's version of Superman, that was a continuation since he was gone for Earth for 5 years in relationship to 1978 Superman. So I don't know. Give me you guys' views on what you thought of this movie. Who wants to go first?
I'll let our guest go first.
Go, what'd you think?
Compared to the other superhero movie that came out this summer, this was like godsend. I love this movie. I love Krypto. I love Lex Luthor. I love Superman. I love everything about this. It hit me at the right time, because I'm one of those people who became a Marvel fan because there wasn't that many good current DC movies, at least in my opinion. I'm one of those people who does not like The Dark Knight. I think it's very overrated. So this kind of brought me back to my childhood. This like the Super Friends kind of style Superman, the Superman that I used to read the older comics, and this is kind of feels like that, like Silver Age Superman, as opposed to when the modern stuff when they try to make him all broody and all that. This is like the farm boy that you fall in love with, I like everything about this movie, and while I didn't think it was a perfect movie, I gave it an 8.5. It's like almost there. And there's a reason why it made more than the other superhero movie that we'll probably talk about later on today. It's because I think people are able to connect with this version of Superman a lot better than like other ones we've had in the past recently. I feel like Henry Cavill, while I think he was a good alternate universe Superman, I thought it was a mistake to make him the main universe Superman. You know, he's more of like an Elseworlds. So I like the Truth, Justice, American Way Superman, and this really portrays that, pretty good. I was just watching a video the other day. Do you know why he wears the underwear over the pants?
I know that it was insisted upon by David Corset.
No, but I mean, like from like originally in the comics. Do you know why?
Yeah, I do. It's actually been a little while since I've seen that, though. Refresh my memory.
It's because he was supposed to emulate what the strong men of that day would wear. Right. Like when they go to work out, they would wear the underwear over, and that's just kind of emulate. So it's little touches like that I love about this one. I was heartbroken when Henry Cavill didn't have the underwear over the pants. I know a lot of people don't like it. But that's always been like a comfort thing. When that's my Superman. I grew up on Superman the animated series, which is probably one of the best interpretations of Superman. And I think a lot of DC comic fans will agree it's one of the best interpretations of Superman that's been done. And this very much felt like this is leaping right off the screen, leaping right out of my comic book. The only thing I have a gripe with Lex Luthor. I feel like Lex Luthor could have been a little less whiny. Because you rewatch the 70s Lex Luthor, he's a little bit more confident. He's not whining about Superman. He doesn't like Superman, but he's not whining about it. And maybe that's something they'll fix in the sequel.
Well, nice. Hey, Joe, hold your thought on that. I'm going to get your thoughts. Where is it? There it is. Okay, right after this.
Get out of here!
Okay. Just one last thing, but I really like that scene because, I feel like a lot of comic book movies recently haven't shown the superhero saving the individual, like the citizens. I felt a lot of people I read a lot of comments and people were complaining about that, but I feel like that's an extra element that we don't see in modern day comic book movies anymore. I really liked it. Go ahead, Joe.
All right, Joe, go ahead and throw in your 2 cents, man. Tell me what you thought about Superman.
Yeah, I got to agree with that sentiment. And I've had a problem with that with superhero movies for quite a while now, is not saving the innocents and the individuals. And instead, they're too busy saving the world at large and forgetting the, individual, people and animals. And that was a big focus. I mean, I'm a big James Gunn fan right off the jump. And I knew when Guardians of the Galaxy was first announced, I knew it was going to be great because I knew the series that it was based off of. So when James made the switch over to DC and became the head and then announced that he was going to be doing Superman as the flagship series, I automatically was dialed in. I had a lot of problems with Henry Cavill. I love him as an actor. I think he's awesome in The Witcher. I think he's awesome in a lot of other things. He did fine for what he was given, but I hate Zack Snyder. I think Zack Snyder is the most overrated director of our time. I think he tries to go for this dark, edgy, brooding, hardcore, like borderline, metal video vibe and aesthetic to his movies, and it just doesn't work. It's great if you do one or two movies like that, but everything he does has that graininess to it. And they really destroyed a lot of storylines that should have been separated. So I was already in for a new Superman movie. When this one, it just blew me away in so many respects. David Cornsweet was a fantastic Kal-El, a fantastic Clark Kent. The difference between the way he looks and acts from his alter ego to his real persona is just, phenomenal. Rachel Brosnahan, I was already, in for her as Lois. When they were doing the casting, it was down to her and one other actress. And I don't even remember the other actress because I was all in for her. I watched Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and I knew she would be a phenomenal Lois Lane. Jimmy was great. The one that surprised me was Lex, because I don't like Nicholas Hoult. I didn't like him as the Beast in First Class. I thought that was a terrible casting. And I
forgot he was Beast. I really forgot.
He really surprised me. I get the whininess, but the thing is, they're all younger right now. They're all like 30. So he's going to have a sense of entitlement and a little bit of whininess to him. He'll grow out of that, I believe. Krypto was awesome. The sets were great. The Fortress of Solitude, the robots, the entire plot. I do have a few problems with it, and I'll address those real quickly rather than spend a whole lot of time. One is I didn't like that monster that he was fighting. I thought that there was a lot of canon creatures you could have put in his place, but I do like that scene as a whole that Mark just played. And my other problem with it, I've got a real issue with the Ultraman concept. I think there's a lot of different villains they could have used in the place of that. If they do what I think they will do with him and turn him into a Bizarro or something where Bizarro is a clone in later installments, I'm good with it. But as it is, I thought that was a little cheap. It echoed a little bit of the Nuclear Man from Superman 4 Quest for Peace, which we all know is the worst Superman movie of all time. And then another small issue I have is the Engineer is kind of a big deal in the comics because she's part of Planetary and the Authority. She making her into a villain, I don't know if I like that. If they reform her and still use her later on, again, I'll take that back. But now I loved Guy Gardner. I know that Mark and I have some differences of opinion there. I loved Hawkgirl, and let's give it up to the two people the two beings who really stole the show for the entire movie, which is number one, Krypto, and number two, dang, Mr. Fantastic. Mr. Fantastic, I've loved him in the comics for a couple decades. They nailed it. He was perfect. That movie got a solid 9.25 from me, and just a few liner notes for me. But at the end of the day, I walked out of that movie feeling hope for humanity. So kindness is the real punk rock. I
got two things to address with you.
Yeah.
One, man, if they're gonna do Bizarro, you go out and do Bizarro. Don't tease us with Ultraman and then do Bizarro later. Yeah. That just felt like a whole tease, man. I was very upset. I think if you're gonna do it, just do it.
Yeah.
Don't hold off until the next movie, because I agree with a lot of fans I've been seeing. The first thing I thought about the next movie should be Brainiac. We haven't seen Brainiac in a live action movie. I don't want to see Bizarro come in as a sequel. If you're gonna do it here, or don't. I heard that they might even change him to Doomsday too. That people were
Yeah, they
saying.
can.
I
Yeah,
was
that
like,
was-
I hope not. I really hope not. You said they can't, but they've done some stupid. Warner Brothers make stupid decisions sometimes in their movies. You
that's
know,
true.
I'm a little
All right.
worried about that whole Ultraman thing.
Yeah.
And then the second thing you didn't bring up, how do you feel about the switch with the parents?
I actually meant to bring that up. I don't like that.
Me neither.
I don't like it, and
All right,
I like even less that James Gunn has dug his heels in about it.
Yeah. Okay. So let me get my bit in. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, my bad. My bad, Mark.
While you guys are dueling here, there's three of us here. Good thing Mark maybe isn't here. And that's okay because they're all opinions, and anybody that doesn't agree with me is just basically wrong and stupid and idiot. So don't worry about your own opinions; they don't matter to me at all. No, in all seriousness, what my mother, I think my grandfather always used to say, an opinion is like a butthole. Okay, everyone has one. Okay, and that's fine, and that's how it's supposed to be. If we all agreed, this would be a sad world that we live in. I don't think I want to live in a world where everyone is agreeing with me or everyone's agreeing with the next guy or everyone just to maintain their friendship with people will always agree with their friends. That's terrible. That's not the kind of life you should live. So I agree with 97% of everything both of you guys said. Okay, 97%. So there's really no sense in repeating it. The things that I don't disagree, the things that I don't agree with, number one is I thought that was the best Lex Luthor that I've actually ever seen. What was that? Justice League's? No, it's Batman versus Superman's Lex Luthor. Are you serious? Really? I mean, come on, he had hair the entire time for one thing. It's too damn young, another thing. And it's like, you want to talk about, he wasn't even a nerd. He didn't convince me as even a billionaire. I'm like, they found some kid in some, pinball shop or whatever and say, hey, we want you to be Lex Luthor. So this Lex Luthor, in my opinion, was absolutely perfect. I really adored it. Krypto, okay? Krypto was incredible, whether it was CGI, whatever. I had, as you know, Joe, the privilege of hosting James Gunn and his brother. I moderated their panel at DragonCon one year and then got drunk with them both late that evening. We're up all hours of the night just drinking and talking shit. This was during Guardians of the Galaxy thing. To get on one of you guys' point, I don't know which one it was, when I heard that the next Marvel movie was going to be Guardians of the Galaxy, I flipped my lid. I'm like, are you kidding? You know how many other Marvel heroes are out there and you're going to hop, skip, and jump over the last great movie you did with Guardians of the Galaxy? Hell no. Loved it. I was wrong. I enjoy being wrong. It proved me wrong. It was a great movie. James Gunn coming in to do Superman. I'm like, okay, that's great. I know his take on it, but I don't want it to be a straight up comedy. Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't a straight up comedy, but it in fact had more humor in it than Superman did. So I was a little worried. I didn't want the Henry Cavill Superman because, my God, being an architect, you destroyed a whole freaking city. I'm watching buildings go down and I'm crying like a baby. No, just kill somebody, not the buildings, anyway. So that was the one thing that I didn't like about the Henry's Superman part of this. All in all, since I've been around nerds, I work around nerds, I do not want to get into a Star Wars discussion with anybody because that just turns into an immature, finger-pointing, name-calling kind of scenario. So you'll never see me have anything. In fact, if I ever get George or any of the other guys filling in on my show here, I might close the chat room completely. I might have to close the chat room. But I forgot my point on that. But I just thought that this Superman movie, I gave it a high score. I think I probably gave it the same thing you did, Remington. Mm-hmm. And I agree with your analogy on it being almost there. You are absolutely correct. All right. Now, this is where I punched Joe in the face. Okay. Guy Gardner. So
he was great.
I've been around Nathan Fillion enough times to know that he's not, I don't really, and this is my lack of history on comics, I have no idea how Guy Gardner got a ring. I have absolutely, what the hell? Did they bend the rules just a little bit because they were short some lanterns and they had to give Guy Gardner? All right, so I know he's this, hold that thought, Grimm. I know he's supposed to be a smart ass, you know, pain in the butt. I grew up in school with people like that. I wouldn't consider them as honorable people, but Guy Gardner has a ring. Then they picked Nathan Fillion, who I thought was too tall. I really didn't like his mop cut, and I thought he was too old. Okay, that was my negative, and you know this, Joe, on Guy Gardner. Horrible casting, in my opinion. I probably wanted to see a new face, someone we hadn't seen before as a Guy Gardner. Didn't like Nathan. In fact, if he was coming to DC, if he was coming to DragonCon this year, I was going to tell him that in his face just to see what happens. But anyway, I know he was dragged into Superman only because he was in Guardians of the Galaxy with James Gunn. So that's how Nathan probably even pitched this. Put me in the Superman movie. Put me in the Superman movie. I don't know. Make me anything. I'll do anything for you. Oh, how about Guy Gardner? You idiot. No, don't give him Guy Gardner. Okay? For God's sakes. Shave his head, make him Lex Luthor. Okay, if you really wanted to do that, but that's.
Hey, I told James Gunn, make me Condiment King. I'll take anything.
I'm going to say something about this Guy Gardner thing. Okay, now look. First of all, he was made it into a Green Lantern because the Guardians of Oa valued his bravery and courage. You know, and let me say that Nathan, he embodied the, you know, completely brazen, rough around the edges, sarcastic, rude, annoying character that is Guy Gardner. He has that bowl cut. It is ugly. You know, that's why Lois pointed it out. He's a jerk, dude. Batman punches him in the face in the comics. So, yes. You know, and we've talked about the age thing, and you guys don't know this. Mark and I have already gone down this. We had an hour-long discussion. We
sure did.
Right as I got out of the theater. I'm just going to bring up one thing. The Lanterns show, which is about the Green Lanterns, it's coming out later on this year. So the character who is playing Hal Jordan, who is older than Guy Gardner, is 59 years old. So Guy Gardner is younger than him, you know, but older than Kyle and older than John. So it's about the right age. Maybe it's a little bit older, you know, but that's okay. You know, that's okay. I'm not going to quibble about it. I thought he did a great job. He was the jerk we needed.
That's why, like I said, opinions are like a butthole, and we got to disagree to agree. That's my philosophy on that. I am looking. Remington hit it right on the nose in terms of villains for the next movie. I agree with him 100%. Wasn't a fan of Ultraman at all, but when they wanted to tease us with him being possibly the Bizarro, I said, "Don't you dare do that to me, because you did it wrong when you put this guy in a suit only to reveal that he was a clone of Superman." All right, so don't even go any further. Just stop, leave it alone. As far as I'm concerned, Ultraman is gone, dead, out of my life. Okay, what were you going to say, Remington, buddy?
That it's canon to the comic books that Guy Gardner has the most willpower of any Green Lantern that's got a ring. So I just wanted to add that there.
Hey, let me get close in the camera here, Remington. Most stubborn assholes do. They do have more willpower because they have points to prove. Of course he's going to have more willpower.
But that's the power of the Green Lantern is willpower.
Hey, I'm going to start a recasting campaign, okay, for both Lanterns and if of course the I just forgot. Is it the Justice Gang?
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, missed opportunity to call them the Super Friends. Very missed opportunity.
Yeah, they could have said
I do
that
think
too,
that
but
was intentional. I think the Justice Gang is like that. They're going to use that as the workshop.
agree on that.
For, yeah, JLA.
But
Yeah,
see, but
agree on
but
that.
if you were going to use it as a workshop name, you should have gone Super Friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's a little corny for me. I don't agree with that. I'm glad they didn't call it Super Friends. It would have been classic if they had, because let's reinvite people's memory cells to Super Friends, as if they're not going to know that they are Super Friends just by watching them. You don't have to emphasize it. You don't have to. What I like to say all the time is state the obvious. Don't state the obvious to me. I know who they are, but that's just fun. Oh, also, not a fan. 90% not a fan of Hulk Girl. Okay. Personally, I thought she was too short. I didn't think she was as sexy, strong-willed as she could have been. Okay. But the other 10%, the 10% that I do like about Hulk Girl is the scream. I've never even heard that in Justice League Unlimited or any of the Justice League animated series where Hulk Girl had that scream. You guys can correct me on that. I don't remember hearing that scream before, and I loved it. Loved it to death. So
she is a little short. She's a little short, but
I
liked her. Amy says insurance prices in the cities with superheroes has got to be insane. That's
yeah. I saw that, and I'm like, I mean, sure, I could be a millionaire by now. As long as we got superheroes in our cities, I will never go poor. Okay, and of course, Jackie had mentioned that she liked it, and of course, this was I was going to bring up that I totally forgot about. Thank you again. Who was that? That's Jackie again, who reminded me. Mr. Terrific stole the movie. Okay, he was, and I knew exactly who he was when he was in X-Men. Of course, when he was in this, I said, "Oh, that's Eddie," and he was in X-Men. He was fantastic. That movie I would go see. I think that could be a standalone by itself on Mr. Terrific. All right, now. If we're done with Superman, we are about to go into a very, very stormy situation here. And like I tell all of my co-hosts, when I think that they're wrong and that they suck, things like this happen. You just make them go away.
Technical difficulties.
Go away.
Whoops.
Technical difficulties. Oh my God, what happened to Remington? How could our guest just leave us like that because he didn't like what we were saying? But that's usually the power of the finger, as they know me to have, Remington. Okay, it's the power of the. I don't need a ring on this sucker, baby. I don't need a ring on it. Okay, you watch your mouth, because, ladies and gentlemen, there is only one dissenting opinion in this room right now. Okay, and we're all in different rooms, by the way. And like I said before, that everybody has an opinion. Not this guy. I think this guy who is so-called a inductee from martial arts, I think his mother grabbed onto his slippery ankles when he was born and just dropped them on his freaking head. I honestly think, okay, so we may get knocked off for this.
Maybe he got kicked in his black belt training. Maybe somebody kicked him in the head too hard. Or something.
In the head. I agree. Yeah, that's a good point, because you do get what's that concussion that football players are complaining about right now? That the brain kind of rattles inside the skull. That's what happened to this issue.
Yeah.
All right. Fair warning. Fair warning. If we get knocked off, probably because of Remington's mouth, I want you guys. I'm gonna rapidly try to reattach. So we're on our Facebook page and we're also on YouTube. I already had to reconnect this twice and maybe 3 times.
So let me repeat this for everybody, because most people dial Mark out and don't listen to what he says. If we get knocked off, go back to the NBL page on Facebook and reconnect. It might take us a minute or two. So just keep checking, refresh.
Yeah, Remington may not be here when you do reconnect. But that's okay. That was part of the technical difficulties that we had to go through, when we do things we may not supposed to be doing. So here comes the risk. It's actually a minute and a half worth. Let's deal with that. And when we come back, when we come back, let's hope to God Remington's gone, and then we can reconnect, and then we can bring along intelligent dialogue to this conversation we're going to have about this incredible movie. So bear with me for a minute and a half. I'll keep my eyes on the ticker to make sure that the powers that be somewhere out there we haven't pissed off. Here you go.
I stretched the bounds of space, and they hurt. It's a herald of something to come.
Your planet is now marked for death.
Our work and Victor's has brought that Silver Surfer. If it has enough strength to fight us, who is the creature it serves?
Are we safe?
I don't know.
Whatever life throws at us, I'm not giving up.
There's not enough time.
We will face this together. We will fight it together. As a family.
Fantastic Four! All right, so Joe, you want to put in your noise canceling device? Because I'm going to let Remington go first. And, if you got to leave, I understand. I'm just saying.
Let me just stuff this in my ear.
Yep, let's stuff that in your ear.
No, I'm just kidding. No, right? Go ahead.
And I'm actually going to give Remington the full stage here, because I might actually go to the bathroom while I was talking. I think that might be the best move. So Remington, buddy boy, what did you think of Fantastic Four?
Listen, I at one point thought I was good.
Oh crap, he's gone. Damn it.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Hold on for a sec. Yeah, I'll get him back. Hey man, sorry.
Technical difficulties. Galactus must be coming. Yeah, I thought I was the only person who didn't like the movie, but I've had quite a few people come up to me and tell me they didn't like the movie as well as another person on my panel for my show the other day who said they didn't like the movie. To me, it was just kind of felt like Fantastic Four light. Like it felt like they didn't do enough with these characters to keep me wanting more from these people. I think the stuff I did like was great and all, but it wasn't enough for me to enjoy the entire movie. I feel like some of the shots are beautiful, but overall, the movie was kind of at a loss. And I think that's kind of why it's not doing good box office wise. It's only kind of breaking even because it's not gaining. It's gaining the comic book people, but it's not gaining the general audience. And, the things that the Fox movies did well, and I think they should look at this from the sequel point, is it had a lot of humor that kept you interested throughout the movie. And it was always showing off their kind of power sets and stuff. I feel like this focuses too much on the drama than focusing on showing off the characters and kind of focusing on the story. And, there's parts I liked about it. I didn't like most of the cast, but I liked Galactus and I liked Vanessa Kirby as Invisible Woman. I feel like she's very much a standout from the film. And I know a lot of people were worried coming in that she was going to be the leader, which I think it was just the people who were writing that. I feel like were being very sexist because she was not the leader here at all. She took charge in some areas, but she wasn't the leader. It was clearly Reed Richards was the leader from the beginning of this movie. But yeah, like Mike's saying here, Galactus was one of the best parts of the movie. I really enjoyed watching the Galactus fights, and the size scale when he comes to Earth, and like when he's sitting on the throne. Like, man, I'd never thought in a million years I'd get to see Galactus sitting on a throne on the big screen. Like, it was just awesome. But it just wasn't enough for me to enjoy the movie. I kind of wish the humor was a little bit more there with the Thing and Human Torch. I feel like in the comics they have more of a brother relationship. Here it's more like they don't play with each other enough. There's so much like stuff you could have, so much like interactions you could have had with these characters, and I feel like it misses the ball for a lot of it. I know. Hey, like I said, I might be the only person who didn't like the movie. So, what do you think?
You know, Joe. I'm in my 5th day of retirement. Did I tell you about that?
Yeah, you did.
It's kind of hard trying to find things to do, but I'm kind of getting that. Oh, sorry, Rim. Were you talking? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We were talking about Fantastic Four. Did you miss that? Did you miss us bringing that up?
Listen, I didn't enjoy the movie. I gave it a 6. It was not my.
Wow.
All right.
Man, the power of the finger, man. I'm holding back.
But I'll say there are good moments in there, but it's like I said before, it's not enough to keep me like to enjoy the movie. I feel like when it's good, and when it's bad, it was really bad.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
I grew up with the Fox movies. I grew up with like the 2005 one, 2007 Rise of the Silver Surfer. To me, those were my Fantastic Four. They really nailed the humor and the dynamics between the characters. And it's funny because those movies I like most of the cast except for Invisible Woman. In this movie, I liked only Invisible Woman. So it was like kind of crazy, the flip flop there.
All right.
Well,
Mark,
let me go, Joe.
You go ahead,
Joe. Let me go next because I think you're going to be more thorough on Fantastic Four than I will be. So let me just Remington, we love having you here, man. No, I'm not. This is not a joke. We're not dumping you down. We love your opinion. We love your appearance here. We love to want to have you back again for other browbeating like you're kind of giving us right now. But you're just wrong. You're wrong. All right. So.
But I'll say this. My buddy always tells me that he knows the movie's good if I don't like it.
I have another buddy like that who always scores a movie about 2 clicks above my number. It wasn't like that incredible. It was good, but that's how excited he is about certain things. And he's a cosplayer too. He's a major cosplayer in the industry. And he always just outscores me, and not in a competitive way, but it's like, dude, really take it easy. To go take a cold shower or a drug or something to calm your ass down, But all right, so probably one of the things I really like about Fantastic Four is kind of the time frame they put it in, even though we know that was not our Earth, but the combination of the nostalgia with futuristic devices that still look of that age nostalgically, visually, but operated futurely, pretty much was brilliant to me. I thought just back in those days, the 50s and the 60s, there was a lot of curves on everything. If you had a monitor, the monitor would be like dome or curve or whatever. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. I disagree with you in terms of who I thought the leader of that team was. It was definitely Sue Storm. Without a doubt, this woman, you can see literally on that Earth, which by the way, if anybody didn't realize, it was Earth 828, Joe?
Yes.
828, which believe it or not, was Joe Kirby's birthday.
Jack Kirby.
Okay, co-creator of Jack Kirby. I said Joe Kirby. I had lunch with Jack Kirby too. So sorry about that, name dropping. But anyway, so it was his birthday, which was absolutely fantastic because I caught it as soon as it popped. I said, "Son of a bitch." Anyway, so the look of the Fantastic Four, I really, really enjoy the mixture of the. When I first saw the trailer of Fantastic Four and saw that look, first thing came to my mind is, whoa. How the hell are they going to do this? What, did we just go back into the 60s with Fantastic Four? Is that what the whole movie is going to be? And the mixture of everything, it just totally fooled me. Sue Storm, personal opinion, even though I thought she was the leader of the group, I really liked her, but I also thought she was a little too old. I thought she was a gilf or a milf, or I think it's a milf. But anyway, she was older. She was older than I thought she should have been. Ben Grimm, I wanted to be bigger. Joe and I had this conversation. If he can go toe to toe with the Hulk, and the Hulk is about 9, maybe 10 feet tall, even 8 feet tall, or whatever, I'm like, he looks similar, just a tad bit bigger than his cohorts in that.
And while I agree with you that he's only 6 feet tall in the comics.
Oh, is he really only 6 feet?
Whereas the Hulk is usually like 8 feet. The Hulk's usually like 8 feet tall. Things like 6 feet.
Well, then I stand corrected. They got that right.
But I agree. When I want to see the thing on screen, I want to see a hulkier thing, bigger. Yeah. And they didn't have that with Michael Chiklis. That was a big thing I didn't like about both.
Yes, so Michael Chiklis. Michael Chiklis actually had the attitude of Ben Grimm from the comics too. It was rough, disappointed at the way he looked, the whole 9 yards. Wasn't a fan of Johnny Storm. Johnny Storm was too smart for me. I wanted a dumb blonde, okay? And we didn't get a dumb blonde. We got somebody who actually could translate alien languages and that kind of crap.
You know why? Because he was trying to get that poontang. He was trying to get the.
Oh yeah, I know that. But glad you came to that point. The other thing that disappointed me was that poontang, as you're calling it right now. Okay, there wasn't a description of who that person was. There's such a backstory on that person who actually was the wife of the original Silver Surfer. And a lot of people didn't get that. Why is the Silver Surfer a woman? Why is the Silver Surfer a woman? Okay. And then at first in the trailers, when I saw Herbie, I kind of gagged. It's like showing me Scrappy Doo. I gouge my eyes out when I see Scrappy Doo, okay, on Saturday morning cartoons. Okay. So to see Herbie in the trailers, thank God he didn't act like Herbie in the cartoon.
Yeah,
he literally was a very important part of the Fantastic Four group, and I thought that was very, very well done. Galactus blew me away. I can't say much more about Galactus. Absolutely stunning. I really, really enjoyed that. Other than that, I did give that movie. What did I give that movie? I think 8.5. I think I gave Fantastic.
I thought you said 8.5 or 8.75. I can't remember which.
Something. Well, not 7.5. 7.5. My holy trinity, young boy. My holy trinity is 8, 9s, and 10s. If you cross my 8s, okay, you did a fantastic job. I give 10s to movies like. I give 10s to movies like Endgame. Okay, that's a 10. Okay, without hands down, that's a 10. I don't care. I'll fight you for that one. Okay, but other than that, that is my story on Fantastic Four and what I thought about it. You're just in a generation that I hate Remington anyway, so I'm excusing you. Okay, I'm excusing you from your preliminary premature loss of mind. I'm screwing you. Now,
but if it makes you feel any better, I like the 2015 Fan 4 stick, and nobody else liked that one. So,
which one? What?
The 2015 one, Fan 4 stick.
Yeah, he likes the Abomination one. The terrible.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. So.
Wow! Yikes! Oh.
This is
Oh
just
my
the end
God.
of the world, Joe.
I saw that 9 times in theaters.
I'm so sorry.
9 times.
Okay.
That's
So,
what caused the
this
brain
is-
damage. No, I'm just kidding.
Remington, this is why there's not going to be any Social Security when you get old. Okay, it's people like you that's just destroying our society. You keep on with that thinking, buddy. You keep on. Okay, so let's talk to the expert in the room about Fantastic Four. So, Joe. And in this ring, we have.
All right.
Joe Thompson.
I've got a lot of
Go
things
for
to
it,
say.
buddy boy.
I've got a lot of things to say, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to get to everything because my head is swimming. So I'm gonna address a couple things first. So a couple facts. So the movie is not a failure. It's still in theaters. It's still been number one. 2 weeks in a row. It'll be number one this weekend too. Probably not after this. It's important to keep in mind that Superman came out a full 2 weeks before Fantastic Four, right in the middle of the summer season. So, of course, it's made more money. If you look like the day that Superman came out to the point where Fantastic Four is now, it had made about 40 million more than Fantastic Four has. So as of right now, Fantastic Four has made 372 million worldwide. Superman is right around 555 million. Look, 371 million is nowhere near a failure. They've made all their production money and all their medium, all their promotional money already. Yeah. So everything at this point is just profit and gravy, and it will continue to make money. Now, is it going to be as big as Superman? No, but you know what? We don't live in a world where Fantastic Four would ever be bigger than Superman. It's just not going to happen. And the reason why is Superman is one of the most recognizable pop culture figures in the entire world. You could literally go to remote countries, third world countries, and they're going to recognize a couple characters. Superman, Mickey Mouse. It's just everyone knows Superman. So you've already got that buying power. They both have equal scores in Rotten Tomatoes and Cinema Score. They're both an A- in Cinema Score. They're both 91% in Rotten Tomatoes. So they're fantastic as far as the popularity of both of them. I also want to bring up something I noticed about both movies, which I think is significant for us as viewers and us as a culture and society right now. In both movies, you have these superheroes that are celebrated by their world, by their community. Everybody loves them. They're celebrities. And that's something we've lost in movies over the last 20 years. I love the MCU. And ask anyone who knows me. I've watched the entire MCU as it was coming out in the theaters. I've rewatched everything. I did a full rewatch last year. So the idea that these heroes are celebrated by their worlds is awesome. The other interesting thing is that both movies have a heel turn where the public starts to lose faith in them. And they have to kind of win it back, which is very timely for the times we're living in right now and how jaded people get. So I thought that was an interesting parallel that both movies featured those themes. As far as the movie itself, a little bit of backstory. My first comic that I ever owned, I was digging around in my grandmother's house. They had a spare room that I used to sleep in, and there was a record player that was on this little kind of shelf or a cabinet, and I opened it up, and there was 2 comics in there. Fantastic Four #1 and Giant Size X-Men #1. Now, these were my uncle's old comics. That was the first comic I ever read. And those are my two favorite Marvel properties as far as the comics go, along with Spider-Man. So my backstory with the Fantastic Four is the comics and not the cartoons or the movies. This was a very comics accurate Fantastic Four movie. They nailed the retro futuristic technological vibe as Mark addressed. set in this like a 60s era, late 50s, mid 60s era. I loved the cast. I loved Pedro Pascal. I love Vanessa Kirby. I love Eban as the Thing. I love Johnny Storm. I thought that each character really embodied the spirit of the characters themselves, but with a slightly different take. Look, in the old Fantastic Four movies, the Fox ones, there was a goofiness to them. There was a silliness to them, but that's not comics accurate. They aren't a goofy group. They're a family. And that's what this movie nailed. They nailed the familial element. And people have often said, like, what would it take to get a good Fantastic Four movie? And the line has always been from the fans, make it a family. And that's what they did. They got them as a family. I did see joking around between the Thing and Johnny. I already watched it a second time. On my second viewing, I picked up a little bit more of it. Some of it was a little bit more subtle than it was overt. But I loved, man, I walked out of that movie and I gave it a 9 when I walked out. And I'll tell you in a minute what my score is now, because it's different after watching it a second time. I loved Galactus. He was fantastic. He was huge and imposing, and he looked like a being that would consume a planet. I kind of get what Mark is saying with Shellaball, and I do kind of wish it was Norrin Rad, but to be honest, as a guy, seeing a girl flying around on a surfboard like that, seeing her sculpted body was a lot more appealing than it was seeing Norrin Rad, the Silver Surfer. And frankly, it's such a bit part, it doesn't matter. I like that Johnny was able to use his head. I didn't see him as a super genius. What I saw that as is Johnny is an actor in the comics. He has an acting career. So if you're going to be an actor, you have to know how to memorize lines. What did he do? He memorized the mnemonics of what he heard, and then he put it together, and he just kind of created his own Rosetta Stone. Is it a little far-fetched? Sure, but we're talking about superheroes, dude. We're talking about people that can light themselves on fire or are made of rocks. I do kind of agree that there was a little bit of a rushed element to it, but consider this. It's not an origin story, so we're not getting a whole lot of character development. We're getting them in the middle of their career. They're already established heroes for a few years. So, it's almost like if you picked up a Fantastic Four comic off the shelf and it's issue 300, they've already had adventures. They do a small little recap in the beginning. You're reading one of their middle adventures, against another big threat. And that's what it felt like to me. It felt like you picked up a Fantastic Four comic off the shelf and they're already established and this is their big adventure. And yeah, it leads into more things. So I said before that Superman gave me hope, and it did. It gave me hope as a human being. As an MCU fan, Fantastic Four First Steps gave me hope as an MCU, as a Marvel fan, and for the franchise. And I think what it did was it set up everything that we need for the MCU to be successful. Because let's all be honest, for all the Marvel fans out there, the last phase of the MCU has been hit or miss at best. There's been some real stinkers, but there's also been some great things. So this was better than, I would say, 90% of the stuff that's come out in the last phase. I think it's a better movie than Deadpool and Wolverine. And most importantly, from a plot perspective and from like a continuity perspective, it sets up so many great things about what's about to happen. Because what we just got an introduction to for the first time in canon in the MCU is we got the introduction of Dr. Doom. Spoilers, sorry people. And we got another confirmation of mutants, because Franklin Richards is a mutant. So, like I said, I walked out of that movie with a 9. And after my rewatch, I was like, man, this is like either a 9.25 or a 9.5. I haven't landed on that yet. I'm going to rewatch it again here probably this weekend, and then I'll make a final determination. But as a fan of the comics, They got so much right. One of my very small quibbles with it is when they do the recap of their adventures. It would have been kind of cool, a huge waste of money for Marvel, but it would have been kind of cool if they had done little shots of each of those villains. And we know that John Malkovich was left on the cutting room floor as the Red Ghost. It would have been kind of cool to see a shot of him or a couple shots of him or some of the other villains of the Fantastic Four. But overall, I absolutely adore this film. I think it's a fantastic film. I think it does pave the way for the future of the MCU. And yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Two things.
Hey, Remington, I'm sending you to your room without any dinner. Mic drop on Joe. Fantastic. I love the way your mind thought, although you did put that score up in my hemisphere, and that's dangerous because if you find anything that out-tops Fantastic Four, what are you going to do next? You know?
Well, I mean, so Endgame is a 10 for me. So, and you know, the Spider-Man MCU movies have all been like 9, 9.5, 9.25. So
very good. I agree. Yeah. I agree.
But
no, Remington. Hold on. You have to listen to your elders for a minute here, okay? Because we grew up on these books, okay? At the time that we were reading these books, they were 12 and 15 cents, okay? You got that, Remington? I remember spending 12 and 15 cents for these books. We could buy dozens of them and have an entire weekend.
Not me. No, not me. Remember, I'm a little bit younger. So when I was going to the comic shop, they were $1.25. I remember when they went to $1.99. I was like,
oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I remember 15 cents. I remember 25 cents. I remember 75 cents, you know, and then it, of course, went up above that. So it's kind of, when we see movies like this, even the first Superman movie, not the first, but let's say Christopher Reeve Superman movie, we dared somebody to mess it up. Okay, we literally said, "What do you think you're doing?" The technology for showing a man could fly wasn't even there yet. There was
so we can blame you for Zack Snyder.
No, we blame you for Zack Snyder. We blame you. We did it the physical way, dude. You had to be hung by wires, and then they had to spray paint the wires so it doesn't show up in the. Come on, dude. That's my generation, buddy boy.
You know what I've been saying for years about Zack Snyder? You guys will get a kick out of this. So I've been telling people, and this is way before the Snyder hate came in. This was just me like holding the flag saying, I hate this guy. Zack Snyder's not a comic fan. He's the guy whose older brother collected comics and maybe would hand him like a cool issue of like Venom or something like that. And he'd flip through one issue and he'd hear the things his brother talked about and thought he was an instant expert of comics. You know,
I know that. It's
Yeah,
no, I agree. That's corporate greed because they saw the moneymaker in something and never started out in the freaking trenches like we did.
Yeah.
And they decided that, oh, well, James Gunn isn't around. Let's do it the best way we can. And then you get the Zack Snyder versions. The only thing DC is good for superhero-wise is their animated series, their animated movies, their animated series, Batman, Superman, you name it. I love the death. Even when they get very, very violent in their DC movies, who gives a damn? I love it. You know, it just rocks. But my God, why can't they get the live action right?
Well, they're starting to. Now they're starting to now. You know, I mean,
look, you gotta do it twice, okay? Lightning doesn't strike twice in a bottle. If this was the first time that lightning's gonna hit, and the next movie that comes out is gonna, suck, then a lot of people are gonna kind of move a lot more further away from DC because they just can't do anything right.
I would argue this is lightning striking twice, actually a third time. Let me point out why. James Gunn directed The Suicide Squad. He also did.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah. Okay.
He also did Peacemaker. Now, granted, that was part of the old DCU, but he's finding a way to implement those elements into this one. So this is actually, I mean, I have a good feeling about it.
Yeah, like Remington say. I mean, Fantastic Four was the first successful blockbuster for DC, in my opinion. Now, I understand that Superman and all that kind of, that's in a separate category all by itself. I think people will go see a Superman movie no matter how bad it was, and then they'll complain about it after they get out of it, but they're gonna go see it. But other than that, Remington, we're gonna give you the floor.
Let him talk. I
just want to know, like, how did you not like Deadpool and Wolverine? You didn't like?
Oh no,
you like this movie over Deadpool and Wolverine? Like what? That's crazy.
I love Deadpool and Wolverine.
Same here.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
And you would rate this higher than Deadpool and Wolverine?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Look, Remington. Okay, Remington. Let me give you a little bit of old man philosophy here. Okay, if you like chicken and waffles, and you're gonna do nothing but eat chicken and waffles because nothing else out there exists that you're gonna like, then you ain't living, buddy. You only want chicken and waffles. Fantastic Four was not chicken and waffles. Wolverine was not chicken and waffles. They were two different flavors, bud. They were two different things that you enjoy eating. Both equal, both just as good. Okay, so if he liked one over the other, well, that's fine. That's fine.
And the other thing is, man, the Human Torch here, it felt like Human Torch light. Like there's something missing with their dynamic between Human Torch and Thing. I grew up on the comics where Human Torch is always called a dick. They're always like busting his balls. There wasn't enough ball busting in here, man. I wanted more of that, like but still show the love. I want more of that dynamic.
I'm going to encourage you to rewatch it. There was a few little instances that I missed that were a lot more pronounced when I was looking for it. I was looking for the details. Yeah, it wasn't as much. It wasn't as much ball busting as Deadpool Wolverine do to each other.
No, but
it was more.
I
subtle.
agree, but
yeah.
It was that big brother, little brother kind of a relationship they had going on. And I did catch the little subtle things that were coming out of Ben's mouth towards Johnny that people weren't paying attention to. And okay. They in fact do like
it wasn't enough. I wanted it like the I'll give it, everybody hates the 2005 one, but the 2005 one, I feel like it nailed some of those character dynamics, where they love each other at the end of the day, but they're still gonna go at each other a little bit, poke each other a little too far, But at the end of the day, they're gonna come together and be a family. Like that's the kind of stuff I like.
Yeah, I hear you.
I feel like it didn't have enough of that. And Reed Richards here, while I enjoyed Pedro Pascal, to me he wasn't Reed Richards. He just plays Pedro Pascal.
Wow! Look at this, Joe. Remington and I found something that we agree on. You ever thought you could see that happen? Did you ever think that? Rem, you're absolutely right. I didn't like Pedro as Reed Richards. For some reason, I literally saw this Reed Richards. Okay, I kind of saw him as a little bit more suave as well as brilliant. I don't think there was enough gray in the temples. And I also think he was a little bit more pudgier than a Reed Richards. Now, action-wise, I think it was fantastic. No pun intended. But
the action was great. I loved the action. That was very much a highlight of the movie.
See, this is what I liked about this. This version of Reed was far more. He was the thinker, like he is in the comics, and he was very, centered on thinking about the problems, because Reed's real power isn't his flexibility. Sure, that gets him out of his, but Reed's power is that he's a super genius, and so I think that I really liked his performance. It was a little bit more dialed back, and it was a little bit more I wouldn't say eccentric, but he's definitely
he wasn't eccentric.
You know what it is? This version of Reed he even says this in his dialogue with Invisible Woman. At one point, when Sue's kind of talking about the options that they have when they're facing Galactus, she's like, "Well, you thought about it," and he's like, "Yeah, of course I thought about it. I think about everything." This was a thinking man's Reed Richards. That's his real superpower. He was spending a lot of times considering the options, but and kind of being deliberate about things rather than just being kind of off the cuff and impulsive. So I really appreciate
it's funny. I think that's perfect wording. I feel like a lot of these characters here are dialed back, and I think I wanted to, as the first movie going into this franchise, I wanted it cranked up a little bit more. Like.
Well, I think you're right. They were dialed back, except maybe Sue. Only because even when she was going through pregnancy, when she was going through labor, I mean, she didn't dial nothing back. I mean, she literally had made a joke during labor that had me laying in the house, and I said, "Oh my God, that's perfect. That's great. She's in pain. They're in peril out in space. She's and she's making jokes about it. That was perfect."
And I want you to, and I know I keep bringing these movies up, I'm beating it to death, but rewatch that Rise of the Silver Surfer movie and then go watch this movie. The surfer scenes were more creative back in 2007, and you would think Disney with their budget and all their money. I mean, dude, that first scene when the surfer's going through the city and go around the world and grabs Johnny Storm and drops him in space. I mean, that is just so iconic. That's what sold a lot of people on that 2007 movie.
And I think that's the difference. So I got to disagree there. I love Shalabal when she's surfing through the waves of the supernova as they're going towards the sun and everything. I thought that was brilliantly done. I mean, you see the ashes or the all the fire and plasma kind of coming off of her waves. And I think you actually I think unintentionally highlighted the biggest difference between these two movies. I don't think that this was made. This is going to sound crazy. I don't think this was made to be a summer action blockbuster movie. I don't.
True.
I
have to admit,
I think they were going for a Fantastic Four movie. It is like, as a fan of the source material, and I gotta say, this is the closest to the vision of Jack Kirby and Stan Lee to anything we've seen on film or TV. And that's, I think, what they were really going for. And if you're a fan of WandaVision, which is Matt Shakman, he actually directed that series and oversaw it. That's what it has in common. And I think WandaVision's probably maybe the best of all the Disney Plus TV series, but it's definitely the top three. And he was going for like a period piece almost, with some good action and some great sci-fi elements. But
maybe because I didn't grow up on that old school Fantastic Four, and that's probably where I'm missing it, because that 2005 one, 2007 one, they're more modern, modern interpretations.
Yes, they are. Yes, I agree.
And this is more of like a retro futuristic version of what those old comics were. And I'm just not familiar with that. I'm more familiar with the modern
you little punk. That's true. Yes. You're absolutely right.
But what's going to be really interesting is not only the culture shock for these characters, but also the way that it's going to metamorphosize them when they come into the MCU proper, into like Earth Prime. That's going to be weird, because
So Rim, Joe and I had discussions about this, mainly because of the after credit scene, and
which I think was a very smart after credit scene. I really like that.
Directed by the Russo brothers.
With all of the news of what Dr. Doom was gonna be, I don't think anybody had in mind of parallel or different Earths that these characters are coming from, but also knowing that they're going to be in the next Avengers movie. And then it brings your thought pattern like full circle. It's like, well, how are they going to do that? Oh, no wonder. okay, I get it, and Joe and I were even coming up on scenarios on how the Avengers movie is going to happen, which obviously, well, not obviously, let's just say we're analyzing this. It looks like it's going to be circled around Franklin. We're like, oh, well, there he is in the house. How does Fantastic Four go from Earth 828 to Earth Prime? Well, oh, Dr. Doom.
So
Franklin.
And let me just say, not even just in the original like comics, well, because Franklin wasn't around originally, but Franklin is a very important plot device in even modern Fantastic Four comics. So the idea of like Dr. Doom going after him, because like Remington, are you aware of his power set? What Franklin can do?
I'm aware of Franklin Richards.
So for those who don't know, Franklin is one of the few mutants that was born to existing superheroes that were not mutants. And so he has a very interesting power set. He can basically manipulate reality. He can think something and believe it and manifest it.
And
the problem is
other universes as well.
Yeah. So the problem is he's a kid, and even like now in the comics, he's only a teenager. So giving a kid a power like that is almost like giving like an 8-year-old a missile launcher, or
it's almost a setup for the government to come after him, much like the X-Men.
Yeah,
it's somebody with that much power. You're looking at how to stop them. They did that in Henry Cavill's Superman too. It's like, okay, this guy's got all this power. We really can't hurt him. We got to find something that will. Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
But look, guys, we've been on. I predicted this would go close to 2 hours, but only because the reason it didn't is because number one, Mark's not here. And number two, there was a couple of other things I wanted to talk about that I'm not going to get into. Otherwise, we'll go over 2 hours.
Can I just mention one more thing? It killed me. It killed me in my theater that after the movie was done, a kid came up and said, "Man, this movie really ripped off The Incredibles." I was like, "What do you mean? Like, with the superpowered baby and the
okay,
I can't think of the guy's name, but." The guy was like, "Oh, he's just like Underminer at the end."
Ironically,
I wanted to just smack my head and go, "Oh my God!"
I know. This is why they should have stopped with my generation. They should not have produced anybody after my generation because we are the generation of reason. You understand? So,
ironically, I've said for years, ironically, that Incredibles is the best Fantastic Four movie, and to me, yeah. So, but I loved it, man. I think it's great. I'm sorry you didn't. Maybe you'll like it a little bit more on your rewatch. But look,
I've seen it twice. I've seen it twice.
Okay, wow. I loved it more.
Seen it twice, yeah. That's enough to convince it.
At the end of the day, we got 2 high quality superhero movies that are kind of getting both of the franchises on track. Both have made tons of cash. Both will continue to make tons of cash. Both of them will have made their production money and their promotional money back with some extra, and that's all you could ever hope for.
Now, how do you feel about them? How do you feel about them doing time runs out for Doomsday instead of doing the original Secret Wars from the 80s?
The original Secret Wars is better in concept. The Secret War from Jonathan Hickman is far superior in every way. It takes the ideas behind Secret Wars 1 and 2 and refines them, because the original Secret Wars was kind of a mess. Secret Wars 2 was better.
Yeah, so. I didn't even like Captain America Civil War. I mean, just the title alone is, what do you mean Civil War? They're fighting amongst themselves. Come on now, they're already a team, and you really think that they're gonna destroy or hurt? Batman versus Superman. Really? Batman versus Superman. You're gonna make a movie with that title? Really? Seriously? So I hate it when they do things like that. Yeah, well, it's called corporate, man. It's like, hey, I got a great title. Oh, hold on, I gotta talk to my broker right now. Oh yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I have a great title for this movie. That's get out of my block, man. Get off my street. So this is what we do with this kind of show, Remington. We love to have you back when you can speak logically. But you know, in the meantime, this is what this show's about. You know, we're fans. There are a bunch of podcasts, webcasts, whatever you want to call them out there, where everybody's just literally quoting their opinions. More professional than we are. They're on YouTube all over the place. This is so and so, and his review of Fantastic Four. I don't know you. You know, I'm going to go see and judge for myself, and I'll do my own web series. But I love it when we all know each other, and we can go ahead and we can voice our opinions on the likes and dislikes, and also things that we missed that you guys may have caught that I didn't. It kind of enhances it a little better, and I appreciate you chiming in massively incorrectly, but I really appreciate all that you do. Let me ask you, who's the other nerd that's posting? I'm trying to find one. Who is this?
That's me.
You've been typing into the chat room.
Yeah, I have the comments on the right side here.
Yeah, I've been doing the same thing. I've been doing the same thing. Yeah. You know,
yeah, I know. I saw yours. I pulled it up. Okay, because I was like, no, that guy's making some good points. I'm like, you're like a doppelganger or something doing this show.
You know what's cool though. You know what I like about all this is that you know, the studios, whether by force or by you know, just the pure situation of like the theaters and the box office post COVID, they're not going to saturate the market now. And so, you know, we get these movies this summer and cool, you know, people at least are entertained, you know. I mean, Remington, were you at least entertained with Fantastic Four? I mean, you didn't fall asleep, right?
I didn't fall asleep, but I was a little annoyed leaving the theater.
Okay.
But I'll say it piqued my interest to see what they do with this next movie.
Good enough, and that's kind of, you know what, and kind of the point I'm making. Maybe,
yeah, I think maybe I'm middle of the road. Okay, you seem probably ultra geek. That's your name of your show, close to, right?
Yeah.
Joe can speak logically, but he's still a little bit more married to the whole industry of comics and how he liked to see the portrayal of what he sees in comics on the screen. I'm just looking for great entertainment, even though I have knowledge of the comics or whatever. I hate it when people always say, well, that's not what they did in the comics, or they did it differently in the book. I mean, I'm talking about from Lord of the Rings to literally from Fantastic Four. Okay, fine. Now you're going to get upset because someone changed one little item about a character and that ruined an entire movie for you. Are you serious? So I can be middle of the road. I can let things go. The thing is not as big as I like, but I'm not carping on it. It's just one thing, and I was proven incorrect anyway. So that's fantastic. You know, I love that. In terms of the Silver Surfer and this, I knew the background of the Silver Surfer. But like I mentioned to my crew a while back, Star Trek, The Voyage Home is what brought the mundanes to the theaters to see a Star Trek movie. Mm-hmm. We as nerds cannot create a box office all by ourselves. Right. It has to be a movie that's good enough to attract literally everybody. Lord of the Rings, Star Trek, The Voyage Home, you know, people didn't even really know anything. Well, Wrath of Khan helped as well, but it was a bigger box office for Voyage Home, mainly because it's mundanes. People said, oh, this looks interesting, Charlie. Can we go to the theater and see this Star Trek thing? You know, and they show up, you know. But if you're gonna stick to canon on every single thing that you do, you know, in terms of producing movies, I honestly think you're going to fail. There's an extreme, and then there's less of, and then there's middle of the road. And I think James Gunn surprised the living daylights out of me when he did Guardians of the Galaxy. I could not believe that the wrong choice for the next Marvel movie could be so damn good. and it literally shocked me in my shoes when I saw Guardians of the Galaxy, and neither one of them, except for Star-Lord, was a Guardian in the comics. Okay, well, Yondu was, but I'm like, well, look.
So
yeah, Yondu was.
I would say I'm not
the real Yondu.
Yeah, I would say I'm not an
Joe?
ultra geek. I would say I'm informed, first of all. And the other thing, like I'm not a stickler for canon. I can allow for some changes that make sense. The most important things for me, like as a fan of like the source material, is did you capture the spirit of the character? Did you utilize storylines that were written by people who were more gifted and at crafting these worlds than just some screenwriter? And the reason why I say they're more gifted is because they're writing these characters day in and day out for years, rather than a screenwriter that comes in and does one script or a couple passes on it and then moves on to their next movie. So use the source material in those plots. And then the other thing is, I know this is going to sound really stupid, but it's important, the look of the character. You need to, like, that's why I love the Thing in this one. It's the first time we've gotten the Thing that looks like him. So Galactus, for example. So, I allow for some changes because, like, it's hard to condense 30 or 50 or 60 years of a comic into one movie, but make it make sense,
Yeah, but what convinced the living daylights out of me was when you didn't put the X-Men in spandex. I was closer to reality. I know you don't like the suits or whatever, but I really didn't want to see these guys swinging around in spandex either. Okay, Spider-Man is the only one who's allowed. Spider-Man's the only one who's allowed to be in spandex. Everyone else, they kind of converted their outfits to conform. And I like that. I like that about the X-Men.
I don't know. I thought Wolverine looked pretty damn good in them spandex in Deadpool 3.
Way cooler.
Oh my God!
Way cooler.
And
see, there's a reason why they wear the costumes, though. And it's canonical, but it also makes sense. The reason why the mutants wore costumes in the comics is because they were trying to hide the fact that they were at the next stage of human evolution. And they thought, hey, if we dress up like all these other yahoos, like the Avengers and Spider-Man and Fantastic Four, and we put costumes on, not necessarily spandex, but costumes, they're just going to think we're superheroes like the rest of the guys, And so putting in leather makes them stand out. You're like, hey, what's that Matrix looking dude walking around with knives in his hand? To me that stands out more. So
yeah. All right, look, I gotta go catch a flight in the morning, for God's sake. I gotta go pack. Don't have to pack a lot, but this is our show, folks. This is what we do. We had a great time. I have one last clip I'm going to show you guys before we go off the air. We'll end it with that. Remington, stay on after the show. I want to talk to you. Joe, hang around too. But I'm going to show one last clip that I had here, and the rest of everyone else that watched us. We do this show once a month. We have Saturday morning cartoons. We have Class Television SmackDown that's more frequent than this show. This show is once a month because basically we need stuff to talk about, and it's mainly film media, whether it's on TV or whether it's at the movies that we like to talk about. And since these movies came out, it was we had no choice but to.
And our next show is going to be a post Dragon Con wrap up. So
correct.
Yeah,
it'll be a postcard, so that'll be more convention talk than anything. And I'm happy to be moderating the cast of Back to the Future at Dragon. One of my panels I have to do at Dragon Con this year, so I'm really excited about that part of it. Everybody that joined us, thank you so much. Everyone that commented, we really appreciate it. No, thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Mike.
Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment.
Please, let's promote you for one thing. So make sure the name of your show again, Remington, and where can they find it?
Nerd Talk Podcast on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, at the Nerd Talk Podcast. Find me on Instagram at Kung Fu Remy, Remi. So everything be out there. You know, I'm probably the only Remington out there anyway. So especially doing stuff.
Yeah. Well, you are. My next convention is. I have no idea what that is. I'm sorry, people are commenting, and I just want to try and get up as many of their comments as I possibly can. Not sure what that is, but have a good time, Jackie. Okay, guys, so we're gonna chime off here. I'll show you this last clip, and then we'll chime off, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for joining us for 2 hours of talk here. Appreciate it. I missed Andy Griffin.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be.
I tried to stop him.
It's fine, Heather. Superman, we finally meet. Would you like a coffee?
Where's the dog?
Dog?
The dog, loser! You took the dog!
That's right, you get all of this.
Where's the dog?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
He's just a dog.
I don't know what dog you're talking about. Ugly dog and a cape.
What did you say?
Hmm?